The next instrument in the wire-strung group, heard here, is the bass member of the CITTERN family, a group of instruments having a flat, teardrop-shaped body. As before, the open strings of the instrument. And now the bass CITTERN, in a performance of a Corrente by Alessandro Piccininu. A number of wire-strung instruments were especially designed to play accompanying parts in instrumental ensembles. One of these was the BANDORA, which was developed in England in the very last years of the 16th century. These are the open strings of the instrument. And this is how it sounds, playing a Gromund by Anthony Holborne. The psaltery is a flat box with wire strings strung over it, which could be played either with the fingers or plucked with a quill held in the hand. To be heard on this recording in arpeggio, followed by an anonymous Danse royale. The dulcimer is an instrument that looks very much like a psaltery, except that instead of its strings being plucked, they are struck by two light mallets held in the player's hands. After an arpeggio played on the dulcimer, you will hear an anonymous Praeambulum. The Middle Ages and the Renaissance had a wide range of percussion instruments, including various sizes of drums, as well as bells and smaller handheld instruments. The first that you will be hearing is the familiar tambourine, a small frame drum with jingles set in the frame. The triangle is also a very old instrument. Heard here, a very short demonstration of the medieval version of it, which included jingling rings that are lacking on the modern instrument. The Middle Ages employed sets of small tuned bells with a range of perhaps an octave. Now, a demonstration of the sound of a set of these bells, followed by a short piece played on bells and triangle. The drums of the Middle Ages and the Renaissance were, like those of today, of two kinds: cylindrical, with two heads, like the modern snare drum, and kettle drums of different sizes. The ordinary cylindrical drum of both periods was the tabor, which was normally equipped with a snare. You will hear a very short demonstration of the small tabor, followed by a somewhat longer one on the larger tabor. Next, a short demonstration of the Renaissance military snare drum. The kettle drums came to Europe from the Near East, and at an early period, pairs of small kettle drums called knackers were used in the accompaniments to dance music. Although the two drums of a pair of knackers have slightly different sounds, they cannot be tuned to definite pitches, as the two drums of a pair of the larger kettle drums could. Now, a demonstration of the kettle drums. They were used in pairs, with the two drums tuned to different pitches. As with the stringed instruments that you heard on the first side of this recording, the wind instruments of the Middle Ages, and especially of the Renaissance, tended to come in complete families of different sizes. The first of these families that you will be hearing is the Renaissance recorder, followed by a short demonstration of the sound of the soprano, the alto, the tenor, and the bass, and then a performance on all four instruments of the German tune Maidlein. The soprano, the alto, the tenor, the bass. And now, all four together. A small and special member of the recorder family was the three-holed pipe, which was used in both periods as part of a kind of one-man band, in which the performer fingered the three holes of the pipe with one hand while beating a drum hanging from his wrist with the other hand. You will hear a performance of an anonymous estampie on the pipe and the small tabor. In contrast to the recorder, which is held downwards and blown through a whistle-type mouthpiece, the flute is held crosswise and sounded by means of blowing across an open hole near one end of the instrument. The flute was far less important in the Middle Ages and the Renaissance than it was to become in the 18th century. Nonetheless, a complete range of Renaissance flutes was made, and you will be hearing demonstrations played on two of them. First, the tenor flute. Now the bass flute. Now 2 tenor flutes and a bass flute in a setting of Consuma la mia vita by Johannes Prioris. In addition to flutes and recorders, the Renaissance had a number of different kinds of double reed instruments, the ancestors of our oboes and bassoons. One complete family of these instruments, the crumhorns, sounded by means of a double reed contained in a cap, so that the performer couldn't grasp it between his lips and control it in the way that a modern oboe player can. The instruments are shaped like the letter J, which explains their name, since crum means curved. Each of them normally has a range of only an octave or a ninth. They blend together in a unified ensemble when you have 2 or 3 different sizes in use. You will hear a series of demonstrations of the soprano, alto, and bass crumhorns. First, the soprano. Now the alto. Now the bass. And now, a performance of a song for tenor and these 3 crumhorns, Mir ist ein schönst brauns Madelein by Caspar Othomay.
Mir ist ein schönst brauns Madelein gefallen in mein Sinn. Wollt Gott, ich sollt einst bei ihr sein, mein Traum für dahin. Kein Tag noch Nacht hab ich kein Ruhe, das macht ihr schön Gestalt. Ich weiß nicht, was ich für was tu, mein Feindslieb macht mich kalt. Ich weiß nicht, wie ich für was tu, mein Feindslieb macht mich kalt. Die Maidlein ich gern dienen wollt, wenn ich mit Bogen kommt. Darum hab ich der Niedersinn, dass mir nicht wird gegut. Ich hoff, sie soll erfahren bald, wie ich so treulich mein. Auch Erden mir nicht wünschen wollt, ihn bei ihr sein allein. Auch Erden mir nicht wünschen wollt, ihn bei ihr sein allein.
A second family of double reed instruments having the reed contained in a cap was the Rauschpfeife. Unlike the Krummhorn, the Rauschpfeife is straight. Heard here, a soprano Rauschpfeife in a performance of an anonymous saltarello accompanied by a large tabor and tambourine. The most complicated and probably the oldest of the capped reed instruments on this recording is the bagpipe, which includes at least one drone pipe that sounds continuously, in addition to a melody pipe, the tones of which can be controlled by the performer's fingers. The instrument that you will be hearing has one drone pipe and one melody pipe. And now, one of the cantigas attributed to Alfonso the Wise. The shawm was the Renaissance ancestor of the modern oboe. It had a reed that the performer could hold between his lips. Shawms came in a complete family, ranging from a small soprano instrument to a great bass 9 feet tall. To be heard following a demonstration of the soprano, alto, and bass shawms is an anonymous chanson, Le Joli Tetin de Madame. The soprano shawm. The alto shawm. The bass. And now, all three together. The racket is an instrument of the Renaissance that in some ways resembles a bassoon. In fact, one of the names for it is the sausage bassoon. It's a fat cylinder of wood with a series of holes drilled vertically through it. These holes are connected by channels cut in the caps at the top and bottom of the cylinder to form a single undulating pipe. The instrument existed, as with all the others we've been talking about, in a range of sizes. You will hear the sound of the bass, accompanied by the harpsichord, in a performance of an anonymous dance, the King's Morrisk.